Hey gang, Pencil Prof here. How's it going? Today we're going to talk about the next phase of writing your essay. You've got the topic figured out, you got your thesis figured out, you've even done your blueprint, you've even gathered your evidence. And now what? You got a paragraph. It's your intro paragraph. But what are you supposed to do? You got 3 to 5 pages to fill. How do you do it? Well, believe it or not, the part that follows everything else that we've talked about is the easy part. The first paragraph, the blueprint, and all the research regarding that blueprint is the challenging part. Now that you've gathered all that information, the actual body of your essay should not be difficult. It should go rather quickly, in fact. So let's get started. Let's go back to our example of Hamlet. Right, what you're looking at right now is that intro paragraph, and you can see the topic in the very beginning of the top paragraph, and that highlighted part in yellow, this part right here, this is our thesis statement. And in our thesis, you can see here that we're going to argue that Hamlet is not crazy. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, if you read below, we have this blueprint here that we have described. And in that blueprint, we have 3 main components. The first one is in red, the second one green, and the third one in blue. And that's our blueprint. We are going to then take each one of those blueprint points, each separate color, and we're going to make that into its own section of the paper. I'm only using each blueprint point to create one paragraph. So you're going to see the 3 different color coded blueprint points, and then you see beneath that 3 paragraphs. Those 3 paragraphs below correspond to each of the blueprint points. The thing you got to remember when you're writing an essay is probably your blueprint points are going to be more than 1 paragraph each, especially if a blueprint point requires a lot of evidence, which of course it should. If you're actually going to prove your thesis, your blueprint points should do the work of bringing forth the evidence. So yeah, it's more than likely that each blueprint point will yield more than 1 paragraph. But this is basic. How do you fill out your essay? Let me just give it to you 1 paragraph per blueprint point, and then we'll go from there. So again, going back to our example, this essay aims to prove that Hamlet's actions and behaviors are rooted in reason and purpose rather than insanity by analyzing key aspects of rationality and action, his self-awareness and introspection, and the nature of his relationships and interactions with other characters in the play. So what should be the next paragraph? Well, we know we have to prove the blueprint. So the next paragraph is in red, key aspects of rationality and action. We're going to explore that in the next paragraph. So if we scroll down, what do we see? The first sentence of the next paragraph is basically a repeat of that first blueprint point, right? The first piece of evidence that suggests Hamlet's sanity can be seen in the rational way seen in the rational way he pursues justice throughout the play. So what you see there is in that first sentence of the second paragraph of our essay is an expansion of blueprint point number 1. And so then what do you think the rest of the paragraph is going to do? It's going to go on to explain or provide evidence for that claim that we're making with what's in the red, and that's blueprint point number 1. That first paragraph, or perhaps collection of paragraphs under blueprint point number 1, is all going to support, hey, Hamlet isn't crazy because you can see he's rational with the way he pursues justice throughout the play. And once we've exhausted that and given all the evidence for that, then we go, where do you think? We go back to our blueprint, and we say, all right, what's the second blueprint point? So let's look at it. Blueprint point number 2, the one in green, right? What is that one? That says we're gonna look at Hamlet's self-awareness and introspection. So we need a sentence to start this next paragraph that indicates we're moving on to start proving that second blueprint point. So what is it? It is, and I've got it again highlighted in green, Hamlet's sanity is also on display in his self-awareness and introspection. So again, this, you guys, it's not rocket science. I've already told the reader what I'm going to do, and now it's just a matter of doing it. And that blueprint also told me what I'm going to do. And I've got all this research data, whatever, to support this evidence, to support these points. So, I mean, I can't wait to throw them out on the page and then boom, throw all my evidence into it. So that whole second paragraph or second collection of paragraphs under point number 2, what do you think it's going to be about? All the stuff that we found in the play that we believe shows or supports that Hamlet shows that he's self-aware and introspective, which just means he's thoughtful about the decisions he makes. Crazy people who would be diagnosed as being insane, they typically don't give a lot of introspection and they don't demonstrate a lot of self-awareness. But we're going to argue that Hamlet does. So that's our topic sentence for the next paragraph. Okay, so now we're done with blueprint point number 2. We're done proving blueprint point number 2. So then we go to back to our major blueprint that we laid out in the first paragraph. And what is that third one in blue? What does it say? And the nature of his relationships and interactions with other characters in the play. We're going to show, hey, another way we know Hamlet's not crazy is just by looking at how he interacts with other characters in the play. He doesn't interact with other people in the play the way someone who we would consider insane might act. He's actually very thoughtful. He's very considerate or kind, or he's very witty and crafty and sneaky. Like, there's a lot of different ways we might go at it. We actually know exactly what we're going to do because we've done the research. So again, going back to our example here, I've scrolled down and we're looking at the third paragraph. And what do you know? There it is in blue. We have another new topic sentence, and this one is going to sound very much like that third blueprint point, just reworded slightly to let the reader know, hey, we're moving on to blueprint point number 3. This is how you create a sense of structure and cohesion in your paper. Trust me, your professors, your teachers, they're going to love this because they're going to go, oh, not only does he know where he's going, but he knows. He's making sure I know where he's going. So let's look at the topic sentence for our third paragraph. And that says, finally, one can see Hamlet's sanity in his relationships and the way he interacts with those around him. The third point here is just something we've drawn directly from our blueprint. And then, just like we've done with the first two, we fill it out with all the evidence. Now, I haven't provided a ton here because that's your job. You're the one writing these essays, right? I'm just teaching you how to create the structure. You've already gathered the evidence, but how to put it into your essays, we'll do that in another video. But what I want you to understand with these is how your structure should be, how you go from that first opening paragraph to an actually filled out paper. What should it look like? Well, it should look like what we just did. I got 3 main points in my blueprint. Each one of those main points in my blueprint becomes a section in my paper that's supported by all that evidence we've gathered. And again, just to remind you, I'm using 3 arbitrarily. You may decide, well, actually, I've got 4 or 5. Okay, then you do 4 or 5. There's no required number or maximum number. You will be, I suppose, guided or hemmed in by whatever your teacher is asking in terms of length of your paper or word count in your paper. But that's one of the ways you can fine tune. You can make a paper that's not quite meeting the page minimum. You can make it longer without injecting a bunch of wordiness and fluff that your teacher, your professor isn't going to like anyway. You can do other things, but that's also the topic for another video. This is simply coming from blueprint to actually the structure of your video. So again, just to recap, let's take one last look at this. Here it is in totality. We have your at the top here, your opening paragraph. You got your thesis highlighted in yellow, and then you have the blueprint points, the 3, and I've used 3, the 3 blueprint points. We're going to show Hamlet's not crazy Okay, that's what we're claiming up here, but in yellow. But how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to look at three things. We're going to look at how he's rational in his actions. We're going to look at the fact that he's self-aware and introspective. And finally, we're going to look at how he interacts with his the other characters in the play. Doesn't really act like someone who would be crazy. Okay, now our teacher's like, oh, cool. Okay, so and so has a pretty clear idea of what they want to do. Great. Let's see if they can deliver it. And then you just go down and each one of these blueprint points corresponds. This would be blueprint point number 1, corresponds to a paragraph. Finish it, and it might take more than one paragraph. Finish it. Once you're done, then you put in a transitional phrase of some kind to let your reader know, moving on to the next point, and lo and behold, there it is. It corresponds with the green. The topic sentence here is green because it corresponds with the green one up here. And we do the same thing we did for the first point. Put a bunch of evidence in, exhaust all the evidence, and then once we're done with that point, we go back up and we say, okay, I got one more blueprint point since I only have 3 this time. And let's grab that blue one. We'll drop that blue one down over here, and it becomes the topic sentence for the next paragraph, and then we prove the same thing all over again. And once we've done that, bingo, we've got a paper written, well structured, well organized, and supported. The thesis has been proven. That's it, you guys. That's how you do it. There's more to talk about. I'll give you more stuff with the next video. We'll talk about how to tease that paragraph out and make your paper longer when it needs to be longer, or how to make it shorter when it needs to be shorter, because we do have to deal with page counts. And we'll talk about paragraph structure and how to do all that. That's all kind of the building blocks of this. But this is what we've talked about here is the main thrust of it all. You may be wondering why I'm doing this. Just very briefly, I do this because I know how difficult, how stressful it can be to have a paper to write and not know how to get it done. I've been in higher education for more than 20 years. I have a doctorate from USC in education. I've been a professional writer. I've been an editor. I've written for every medium that you can think of, and I found my passion at this stage of my life in helping young people learn how to express themselves in a written form. I think it's something that everybody, if they're honest, is a little bit anxious about. And when you're anxious about something that you are required to do, like write an essay, it doesn't tend to lend itself to good work, and it sometimes can even lead to the temptation to try seek out other means of getting a paper accomplished, and those ways will short circuit your education and could land you in a lot of trouble. I'm a firm believer in the fact that teaching this stuff and learning this stuff shouldn't be as hard as it seems. It really shouldn't. It does take effort. You need to apply certain knowledge, but where do you go to find that knowledge? Well, that's the answer to why I'm here. I'm here to do that. So if this is benefiting you in any way, that let me know. That feels good to me. It makes me feel happy that what I'm doing here is accomplishing what I'm hoping it's going to accomplish. If you like what you're watching, please hit that like button or subscribe. Let your friends know. Let your classmates know. You can let your teachers know if you want. And if you have any questions for me, if you're working on an essay and you need some help, I'm willing to help there too. You can just put a question in the comments and I'll respond to you. I can't write your essays for you, but I can be a tutor for you and help you get over the hump. That's what I'm here for. It's one of my passions in life. So I love doing this. I'm grateful for the opportunity. And thanks for hanging out with me today. And we'll see you on the next video. And like I always say, don't be afraid of the blinking cursor. See you next time.